In our digital world, we're not just creating data, we're creating a whole universe of it, and it's expanding at a rate that's just unbelievable. So, how on earth do you manage this constant flood of information? Well, that's the big challenge we're going to tackle today as we dive into a really powerful methodology called DataOps. To really get a sense of the scale here, let's just start with a number: 181 zettabytes. That's the mind-boggling amount of data that's projected to exist by 2025. I mean, what even is a zettabyte? It's a trillion gigabytes. It's a number so huge, it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around, right? And it perfectly sets the stage for what we're up against. So with all that information swirling around, every single organization has to face this fundamental question. Look, the value of data isn't just in having it, it's all about how you use it. When you manage it well, it's this incredible asset that drives amazing insights and smart decisions. But when it's messy, when it's inaccurate, or it's insecure, it very quickly becomes a massive liability. And that liability, it comes with a very, very real price tag. Let's actually look at what happens when data management goes sideways, because the financial and compliance stakes are probably way higher than you think. Yeah, this is not some theoretical risk. This is a quote from a real-world case that shows how one teeny tiny error, something as simple as untested decimal handling, spiraled into a multi-million-dollar problem. This is the kind of stuff that absolutely keeps business leaders up at night. But the danger isn't just about accounting mistakes. In the world we live in now, which is so heavily regulated, mishandling data can lead to some really severe compliance violations and massive penalties. It's totally shifted data management from being just some technical thing to a serious legal and strategic priority. And this slide just shows you how complex it can get. I mean, just take India's financial sector, for example. Companies there have to navigate this dense web of rules from a bunch of different regulatory bodies. You've got the central bank, the insurance authority, the securities board, and they each have their own specific rules. This tangled web, that's the new normal for businesses everywhere. So you're facing this chaos, right? Massive volumes of data, huge financial risks, and this crazy regulatory complexity. How do you get back in control? Well, this is where a modern approach called DataOps enters the picture. Now, it's really important to get this. DataOps is not a single tool you can just go buy. It's a methodology. It's a fundamental shift in how you think about your data, your culture, and your technology. The whole idea is to automate your data workflows, to make everything faster, more collaborative, and most importantly, way more reliable. If you're familiar with DevOps in the software worlds, this is the perfect analogy. DevOps totally changed how we build and release software by focusing on automation and collaboration. Well, DataOps takes those exact same principles, automation, collaboration, and a huge focus on speed and reliability, but it applies them to the data pipeline instead of the code. Simple as that. Okay, so we get the idea behind DataOps. Now, let's see how it actually works. We're going to take a quick tour of its core components. Think of them as the essential pillars that hold up a really strong DataOps framework. These 5 pillars really are the foundation. First, you've got data integration. Then you make sure you have data quality. You establish clear data governance. You manage the whole workflow with data orchestration. And finally, you keep a clear view of everything with DataOps observability. Put them all together, and you've got a system for managing the entire life cycle of your data. All right, first up, data integration. This is all about breaking down those pesky data silos. So instead of people manually pulling data from different databases and apps and files, tools like Fivetran and Talend automate that whole process, bringing it all together into one single unified place where you can actually use it. Next up, data quality. Because let's be honest, having all your data in one place is useless if it's wrong. This pillar is all about constantly monitoring for errors or inconsistencies. Platforms like Monte Carlo actually use machine learning to proactively spot issues and alert your teams before bad data can mess up any business decisions. Then we've got governance and orchestration, and these two really work hand in hand. Think of it like this. Governance sets the rules of the road. Who can access what data and how they have to use it. And then orchestration is like the traffic controller, automating and directing the complex flow of data through all the different steps in your pipeline. Now, here's a really critical piece of the puzzle, especially since so much is moving to the cloud. When it comes to governance, you have to understand who is responsible for what. It's not just on you, it's really a shared responsibility, a partnership between you and your cloud provider. And this model right here, the shared responsibility model, breaks it down perfectly. Just look at the column on the far right for SaaS, or software as a service. You can see the provider manages pretty much everything in green: the hardware, the network, the app itself. But, and this is the key part, notice those top two bars in blue. You, the customer, are always responsible for your own data and who has access to it. Knowing that division of labor is absolutely crucial for secure data governance in the cloud. So this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important, pillar of DataOps. It's really the ultimate goal of this entire practice. The future of data management, it's all about becoming observable. So what does that actually mean? Well, data observability is the ability to monitor, to understand, and to diagnose the health of your data systems in real time. It's all about shifting from a reactive approach, fixing problems after they happen, to proactively making sure your data is reliable, trustworthy, and ready to deliver real business value. And believe me, this isn't just some niche trend. It's a market that is growing incredibly fast. If we look at India again, the data observability market was already worth over $93 million back in 2023. By 2030, it's projected to more than triple, hitting over $280 million. That is a clear signal of some serious investment. And what's driving that growth? A 17% compound annual growth rate. A number like that shows an accelerating commitment from businesses to get deeper visibility into their data. They see the incredible value in it. So when you put it all together, what this really means is that implementing DataOps and pushing for observability isn't just another IT project. It's a fundamental business strategy for managing risk, for ensuring compliance, and for squeezing every last drop of value from one of your most critical assets, your data. Which really just leaves us with one last crucial question. In an era that's completely defined by data, you just can't afford to be reactive. So the question isn't if you need a data strategy anymore, but rather, what is your DataOps strategy for turning that data deluge from a potential liability into your greatest asset?